Is it a win?
Oh, look
How
at
do
it.
you win?
Look at his face.
It's about time we revisit the Speed Chess Championship. This was played in September 24. With the white pieces, we've got Mr. Nans He-Man, the man with the power to take down Magnus and Hikaru, and playing with black, it's Gigakaru himself. This was the third place playoff match, aka the Big Fat Losers final, and what a game this is. Incredible finish, commentators freaking, they're over the board in Paris or opposite each other in person, let's say, but they're playing on computers, so it's actually online chess despite being in the room. Let's dive in here. We get d4 from Hans. This is halfway through the match. He's trailing a bit, trying to fight back. Hikaru keeps it super solid. We get this Queen's Gambit declined here, and after knight to c3 PO, these are some of the most common moves. Does Hikaru do any of them? No, he hits Hans with a little sideline here. We get takes, pawn recaptures. This is known as the Carlsbad pawn structure, spelt with a K, a C, no one knows, driven many a chess grandmaster insane. We now see knight to f3 and Hikaru sets up the solid light squared pawn formation. The bishops develop here and we see Hans just calmly drop back. Do you want to take here? Open my rook. You could now play knight f6, but Hikaru brings it here. Bit quirky. Is he headed for f5? e3 played. Now he puts the bishop on f5. Everyone's head is spinning. Apologies for my voice, by the way. Bit tired. Got about a 7-day-old baby. Plus the pollen count is high. Killing me. What do we now see? It's knight h4. Normally a boo-boo, but you are going to pick up the bishop, so it makes up for putting it on the edge. It now drops back to g6 and queen b3. Hits that pawn right, and Hikaru plays a weird looking move. He rook lifts here just to the a7 square to cover, and the reason this doesn't work, queen recaptures, queen here, hitting this one, and then if it retreats, you win the pawn. Well, black's got the weird looking retreat, knight c8. You cover the rook, you hit the queen, it has to give ground, black is fine. So, we see the move of bishop e2. Castles from both players here, but no king safety fist bump. Exploded out. Hans is apparently still bitter that Hikaru unsubscribed from gmhands.com premium subscription. Hence, no king safety, you know what. Now we see bishop takes on g3, always recaptured towards the center, general rule of thumb. The knight now develops, but the rook's not yet connected. Hikaru wants to deal with it. Hans player now plays a weird move, but we'll see the point. Knight f6 and b4, Hikaru can make any more progress. Hans launches this minority pawn attack. But first, of course, Hikaru completely forgets which way his pieces are supposed to move. I mean, is he too old? Is he over the hill?
But he's 36. Like, there's going to be a time when Hikaru's sitting in his pineapple shirt and he's not playing chess anymore, and he's just going to have to watch me win tournament after tournament. He's going to be too old to even compete. Like, my reign is going to last so long that he's going to be at the age of like just like he can't even walk anymore, and I'm still going to be winning.
Those were the comments of Hans coming into this game, a little added extra spice, right?
Mushrooms.
We see a4 launching that minority attack. Knight d6, b5 on the way here, and you could take, of course, but Hikaru glides on past like a ship in the night. The Mary Celeste. We now see takes on g6, pawn recaptures, and the rook hits the c-file where there's going to be some action. Queen d7, rook ab1, another rook enters the game here. Not quite a rook tangle, we just need this one there to complete the beautiful shape. And after takes on c6, rook takes back. Hans now hops, offering the exchange. I dare you to take. The bishop screams out, slices this skewer, so the knight comes to e4, bishop d3, and now look at this. Someone is about to get rook rolled. Rook takes on c6. Hans blinks first. Now we see knight recaptures, headed for the weakened b4 square, and now a committal move takes. But it's a good move because after captures, you've relinquished the blocking pawn on that Deirdre D pawn, right? It's free to run like Forest. We see rook c1 challenging the only open file. Knight b4 takes, queen recaptures, queen c3 offers the exchange, but you'd be unwise to go for it because after this, f5 to cover the pawn, right? And then you get f3. Pawn's going to drop, so takes, but the problem is you're setting up this massive center. White is doing well here. We'll pause there, come back to the game. We do see similar because we get some real bouncy moves now. The pawn's going to run, blockaded. Now this one hits 2, queen covers, saying take on e4, I take on a4, so the knight bounces back. Couple more pogo stick ideas, and now after this one is hit, knight b6 counters. Hans decides no, he doesn't want to exchange prisoners, and Hikaru could just repeat with knight d5. Centralize the stallion, right? But he does not do it here. Makes a huge blunder. He plays queen d5. Now why is it so bad? Well, after takes, the knight end game is better for white. Now to be fair to Hikaru here, he shakes it up. He goes b6, pawn drops, but then f5, knight hops in here, and he is indeed winning back his pawn. But he's absolutely playing with fire here. A pawn down already, white king rushing in, pawn is running. He now takes here on a4 after knight c4. Mistake apparently, rushing the king was better. Now we're back to level, but look at this. King f1. King f7, king e2, and there's only one move here which actually keeps the game balanced. Hikaru does not find it. He has to go knight c3 check. King marches in, you blockade, and although you can set up this same massive pawn avalanche, after the knight comes here, pressuring the pawn, this a pawn actually creates enough counterplay to distract the king. Something like this is how the line proceeds. Fine, missed. No knight c3 check. Instead we see king e6 right, but now king d3, and would you look at this? The black knight on the edge of the board is trapped. Has no squares it can go to without being taken, or legal squares. So king d5, but now the massive centre is set up. An iron curtain has descended in the centre of the board. King's driven back, g4, g6. The players set up the Eiffel Tower, an homage to the fact that they're in Paris, France. Arbiters are absolutely loving it. Look at them there. But the big problem is Hikaru has now run out of waiting moves. So we see this move of king c7, and king c2 prepares to trap that knight on the edge of the board. Very stinky. So b5 is forced, gives a pawn, but at least gives the knight an escape square. It breathes life. Franken knight. The king re-enters the game, but check. Hans in the driving seat here. He's a pawn to the good and two massive connected central pawns. He could take on g5 after b4, but he instead checks here, spins the knight back around, offers the exchange, which you can never go for, of course, and after knight a4, d5 just rolls off the wrist, right? Because the knight and pawns create this wonderful barrier and blockade, but not played, missed. Hans now almost plays it too slowly. You know, they say don't rush the endgame, right? He covers the pawn. Again, he could have pushed d5, but now Hikaru gets knight e2, double hits 2 pawns. We see king d3. This one now drops. Again, d5 check best, but king e3 played, and now Hikaru plays this absolute kamikaze, randomizes the game, but boy is it a great move. He does this, and now after takes, you should play d5 check again, or even e5. Keep those pawns together, working. But instead we see takes. And it's an absolutely terrible blunder. You see the butt flap falling out there. Stock squid poops its pants because after takes, we're in a level game. This king rushes over, but now this one rushes in, and you're getting trousered by these black pawns here. Or think of a bowling alley, right? You're trying to get 2 pins with 1 ball. How do you do it? So what to do if you take here, black takes here, this is a draw. You win the pawn, but so what? You can't checkmate with the knight. Not in any sensible way. So this was the position here. Knight g3 check played, king d5, knight e2 rotates, but after this next move, things get really crazy, right? What should Hikaru do here? Amazingly, he only has one drawing move, and that one is king e4. You stay in touch with the pawn here, and if, what was the move I was looking at? Say you go check. well then the king just steps back. If you don't, if you take this pawn, then you can step in, hit the knight, and you're about to win this pawn if it moves. And if you run, well then you're in time to do this. And you make that queen, and you make that draw. So king e4, stepping in, finds the draw. But g3 is played. Huge blunder, because now you can play takes. You can't yet take the pawn. So you can go g2, or king e4 was possible, but this time king c3 comes. You cover the pawn here, and this knight's covering the square. Now again, if king e4 is played here, which we did see in the game, it's now hands to move. You have to find a very precise continuation. White to play here, and there's only one move to win this game. Absolutely unbelievable. The way to play here is knight to g1, and it was missed by Hans Niemann. We've gone to the back cave, because if you march in like this, then it's not d5. Then the king marches in, gets rid of the knight, you promote the pawn, or you keep chasing the knight and you cause a perpetual. But what you do here is knight h3, and you buy yourself this time. So then the line goes like this, and you have to now play king d3. I mean, crazy line, but you're taking control of e2. And this is the point. Now you can go knight e2, supported by the king. Black's got nothing. You know, you can promote, you take, you run the pawn. You can try and get back, but you're not in time. Pawn is running. It is just game over here. But this, the position, king e4 played. We don't see knight g1. We see king d2. Huge blunder from Hans Niemann, because the queen is made by Hikaru. The knight distracted. The pawn drops.
Oh, he blundered. Oh, no. Is it a win?
Oh, look
How
at
do
it.
you win?
Look at his face. He's really upset.
Oh, G1 queen.
G1 equals queen.
Oh, my gosh.
Hans blunders it right back, and he slaps his forehead.
The game ends peacefully, but boy, what a fighting draw. Crazy game that was.
Chess speaks for itself.
Hope you enjoyed this one. Smash subscribe if you did, and have a look at the video on screen for some more epic chess. Cheers.